Back, as they say, Jerry, with another one of those block of rocking beats. I'm just keeping it radio theme there for the crack. I don't know what I'm doing, to be honest with you.
I like to think that I would be a good radio DJ, Tom. In actual fact, I would be a fucking shocking radio DJ. And not like a shock jock, like a
Howard Stern.
Howard Stern, no. I'm like, that guy's fucking shocking. Who let him whose cousin is he? Get him the fuck out.
I reckon I could find myself go very Alan Partridge. Welcome to Radio Norwich. And have loads of stupid like jingles and whatnot that I would have recorded myself thinking was a great idea.
No, I'd be doing shit like talking over the intros of songs and things like this because my timing's shite.
Oh, the way we haven't actually introed ourselves at all today. Like we've just literally started talking.
Plowed into it.
Yeah. Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to another bonus episode of the Tom and Jerry Show. That's right. It's a bonus episode, given that we have our full, nice, big, chubby, roundy episodes come out on Mondays, where we deep dive into subjects that interest the living shit out of at least myself and Jerry. But this is the bonus, where we bring people of well-known origins on to tell us about hell gigs, essentially, Cher.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell us your worst gigs ever. This is possibly one of my worst gigs ever, Tom. I've never given such a fucking bad intro for anything.
No, you haven't.
Absolutely. I mean, normally I'm fairly all right, but I'm rambling like fuck here, Tom. So I'm going to let you, Jesus, take the wheel, Tom, take the steering.
No problem. Jerry's all right.
And it's not this. Hey, it's not for nothing. Like, absolutely, our guest today is absolutely fantastic, and I love listening to our radio show. I don't know. I'm just not at the races here. I either had too much coffee or not enough. I'm on that fucking curious place, Tom.
You have burnt out at this stage. We've just done a 2-hour podcast already. And we're recording the intro to this because the fantastic 2FM DJ, Ciara King, is joining us. She's over in the west of Ireland and had a cracking time hanging out with her. Sit back and enjoy the brilliant Ciara King, everybody.
Dear Diary, today I appeared on the Tom and Jerry Show. Would that be about the height of it there, Ciara?
Actually, I probably would have written something like that back in the day. Yeah, I would have. Oh, can I just say, absolutely brilliant name for a podcast. Like, brilliant name for a podcast. And Jerry, before I continue, like, obviously the last 16 to 18 months has been really difficult. But the one thing that I've found solace in is following your hair growth on Twitter. Seriously, genuine. I'm like, Jesus, he's got some head of hair now.
It's getting into Will Ferrell territory, all right, in all fairness. I mean, well, I can't slag Jerry off. I ended up...
No, you can't. You also have a lot of hair, Tom.
I don't know. It's a scandal. It's what happens when grown men live in their sheds, Ciara. This is exactly what happens, is that we end up with ridiculous hair growth. It's a consequence of the thing that we're willing to do.
Yeah, that's fair enough, though, guys. Yeah, no, that's fair enough. In fairness, what else did anyone have to do for the last 16 months? Like, so at least you've got something to show at the end of it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Such an all as it is.
Other people have books or music albums. Yeah, you guys have amazing hair. So yeah.
I mean, it's essential. It is essential for a podcast. It must be said.
So you had to have classy hair. Well, of course, we didn't just bring you along just to compliment the living Jesus out of us through the whole thing, Ciara, because like we were saying before, myself and Jerry spent the first 5 seasons of this just horrifying people with the brutal gigs that 2 stand-up comedians have done, but got to a point where we're just like, we can't do this to people or ourselves anymore. So let's go talk to some well-known folks so they can take us down a path that makes us all feel a bit better.
When I think about when I first started out in radio, myself and Chris, who I work with, we used to do a nighttime show on iRadio, which is a brilliant radio station. And like, we were in our early 20s and we were loving life. We thought we were shit hot. We thought we were taking on the likes of RT2FM and Today FM or whatever. We were just absolutely obsessed with the life that we were leading at the time. And we always said at that time, me and Chris were really big in Cavan, right? I don't know what it was about Cavan people, about our radio, but they just absolutely and utterly loved us. So then we'd obviously get asked to do club tours in different nightclubs across Cavan and stuff like that. So I think at the time I was going out with a guy and I wanted to save up to buy him like a posh camera. So Chris is like, here, do you want to do these club tours with me? And I was like, well, I'm not a DJ, because people call me a DJ. And it's actually an insult to DJs. I'd call myself a broadcaster. And then everyone tells me I stand up my own arse. But genuinely, that's what I call myself. Because I'm not like a Larry Gogan or a Tracy Clifford or a Jenny Green or. So I said, okay, what do I have to do? And he was like, you have to come with me, he said, until 2:00 in the morning to random towns across Cavan. I'll put the music together, I'll sit and play it on the computer, and you just sit beside me. And I was like, sound, I'll do it, whatever. So, I mean, we were in Baileyborough, we're in Ballinyaw. Is there a place in Cavan called Ballinyaw? Probably. Coot Hill, Kingscourt, I know everything about Cavan because I've literally travelled. So, like myself and Chris, I remember we did an outside broadcast and we were doing it from an older woman's clothes shop in Cavan Town. And we were trying to be like super cool, and we were like the new radio, we're trying to be edgy and hip. And we had like little kids coming up to us, like asking us to say requests for their teachers and stuff. And I was like, this isn't fucking cool, Anyway, so one night we ended up in a nightclub in Cavan. And like that, we did our thing. And this guy came up and he requested a song that we hadn't in the mix or whatever. And that was fine. He kind of went off, kind of said a couple of words to us, went off into the night. So we were leaving. And at the time, we'd always go to Chipper after like doing one of these gigs, because 2:00 in the morning, we had to drive back to Athlone, where we were both based. And this guy starts squaring up to us, right? And it turns out, he starts squaring up to us. And it's 2:00 in the morning. We're in the middle of nowhere, Cavan. Chris was driving an Opel Corsa at the time, right? Nothing glam about this. We were just going to get a takeaway burger and chips. This guy comes back up and he's like, oi, Chris, Ciara. And we were like, uh-oh, it's 2:00 in the morning. This guy's absolutely loaded. We didn't have bouncers, we weren't VIP like that or anything. And he was like, the TV sent me 2 shit DVDs in a competition 2 weeks ago. I literally was down there and I'm like, oh my God. So Chris then gets a little bit like, Chris was in his early 20s and he gets a little bit like, oh yeah, mate. Is that the case, whatever? And I'm like, get in that car. It's 2:00 in the morning. He's drunk. And literally your man just kept on shouting, he sent me 2 shit DVDs. And he was right. I think we gave away like a Sylvester Stallone DVD and another DVD. It was just one of those throwaway competitions on the nighttime show. And here we are at 2:00 in the morning and your man's abusing us because he won 2 shit DVDs in a competition on our radio show about 2 weeks previous. And we managed to get in the car, we managed to get away. And I was talking to Chris about it this week when I knew I was coming on the podcast. And we can't remember where in Cavan it was. And it's probably best that we don't remember where in Cavan it was, actually. But I remember that just being like, that is one of the most bizarre kind of club tours that we had. And then the other example that I'm going to give, and this will show you the trajectory of my career, let's say. I was flown to London I was put up in a 5-star hotel in Mayfair to interview Donald Gleeson. And I had been kind of sent through entertainment.ie actually. And I've been sent to do some of these calls before, like whatever, where you go to a 5-star hotel in London, you interview someone for 5 minutes about their movie. They're not very interested in you because they've answered the same question a million times that morning. And I was walking down, I was like, it's Donald Gleeson. I'll be completely and utterly fine. Like, he's Irish. We're the same. Like, me and Donald Gleeson, we're basically best friends. I've interviewed bigger people than Donald Gleeson. And as I'm approaching the 5-star hotel, I'm like, oh God, I got really nervous. And I realized right then and there that I was a huge Donald Gleeson fan right before I go into interview him. So I am like losing my mind. I'm like, okay, Ciara, get your shit together here. So he was starring in Goodbye Christopher Robin at the time. It was a movie, it was out in 2017. And there's actual proof of this on the internet if people want to listen to my embarrassment, whatever. So I went in, I'm giving off loads of nervous energy. He's absolutely lovely. And I'm like, Ciara, you watched the movie, you've got your questions, you'll nail this, 5 minutes, whatever. So I'm asking the question, when you're listening in slow motion. So he played the character A.A. Milne, okay? So this is a very famous character who created Christopher Robin and Winnie the Pooh and stuff like that. So I was like, Donald, it must be so hard when you play a real life character. You played A.A. Mills. I said Mills. And you could just see him, he kind of shifted from one kind of foot to the other. My mind went blank and I was like, I said the wrong name. And that was the very first question that I asked him. And he so politely turned around and was like, yes, playing A.A. Milne, it was very interesting thing to do. But so he was not a dick to me at all. He was so nice. But so that happened in 2017.
That was kind of a wee bit dicky now.
No, because he could have said, well, actually, he could have called me out in it. He could have been like, well, actually, you were wrong. But he very politely kind of went, yes, playing A.A. Milne. But the comments under the YouTube video when I went up, you can check it out yourself. Everyone was like, ooh, get this girl P45, so embarrassed for her. And I've interviewed loads of celebrities and I've met loads of people. That has stuck with me because I feel like I have to meet him and I have to say, I'm so sorry, I knew the name of the, like, it's me being pedantic as well, like, you know. And I actually, there was a time period where I kept on bumping into Donal Gleeson in Dublin. And I was like, this guy's going to think that I'm stalking him. I bumped into him. I was walking down towards Grafton Street, and this guy was coming around on a bike. We bumped into each other, and then I realized afterwards, I was like, oh my God, that was Donal Gleeson. And then about 2 or 3 days later, I'm in a restaurant, and I look up, and Donal Gleeson is literally sitting at the table over there. And there was one other time, I can't remember, but it was 3 times in a row, and I was like, I'm being haunted by Donal Gleeson, because I literally want to meet him and be like, I'm so sorry, I knew. It's me being a nerd. It's me being an absolute not a nerd. Being like, no, I totally knew what I was talking about, but I got it wrong. So that was, I just told that story to show you the trajectory of standing outside a chipper about to be beaten up for giving some prize winner 2 shit DVDs, and then kind of messing up with Donal Gleeson in a 5-star hotel in London, you know? So there you go. It's been a very varied career.
I'm not buying that you accidentally ran into, like, who the fuck runs into Donal Gleeson 3 times in a week?
It was really weird. It was really weird. But you know what, though? Then I was like, oh my God, does this mean that I'm going to marry Donal Gleeson? That's where my mind goes. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, it's not coincidence that the fact the 2 of us live in Dublin. So I'm like, oh my God, this is a sign from the universe to tell me that I'm going to marry Donal Gleeson. Thus far, I have not met Donal Gleeson since, and I don't think I'm going to marry him. So I'm trying to kind of get that into my brain.
They're like the Kennedys of Irish actors. You get into the Gleesons, you're made for life.
God, wouldn't that be amazing? I'd marry all the brothers. Yeah, 100%.
I mean, Ciara, I will say you're not doing too bad. I've heard an interviewer call him Domhnall Gleeson, so I think you're doing all right.
Oh, okay. No, I definitely would have nailed it. Can you imagine if I messed up Donal as an Irish person? Now I do remember one thing on radio, and it's another thing that sticks with me. And I'm like, we're usually really good at this, because when you work on a radio show, you get text messages, like all sorts of text messages sent into you. And like when I was a kid, we used to ring up Galway Bay FM, and we used to leave requests on the Love Hour for our parents of, our mates and stuff like that.
Oh, that's adorable.
So yeah. So it was to pull the piss out of them. It was like, and a big, because this girl called Karina Gavin used to host it, and she had like the sexiest voice ever. And we were all like, we didn't have mobile phones at the time, so we're ringing from our house phone, So like a big shout out there to Jackie and Shirley, who are massively in love, and we'd all be like twittering, in our bedrooms listening to it on the radio. So when myself and Chris started nighttime radio, we started getting those sort of requests, like a big shout out to John there and Mary who got engaged or whatever. And we're like, no, they didn't get engaged. Their mates are just, texted into the show, whatever. And it was the same with, like, if it was announced on Twitter that a celebrity had died, we would double check and make sure that Reuters had announced it before we'd ever say it. And this is oh God, I got so much abuse for this, and I don't blame people. But a text message came in, and I don't know where my head was at, and I got really upset, and I went to Chris, I don't believe it, Michael Schumacher's after passing away. And I said that live on the radio, and Chris was like, and Chris trusts me, obviously, because we don't miss up. And then Chris was like, really, Ciara? We're just going to go, we're going to check that out, whatever. Then realised that it was a hoax. And in fairness to us, we rarely get caught. But I announced on national radio that it was when we were doing the nighttime show on RT2 FM. And the abuse that I got, like the complaints that I got, the text messages that were coming in. And Chris, in fairness, is very good. He was consoling me. But like, I literally announced on national radio that Michael Schumacher passed away, and it was not true. So check your facts, guys, before you say anything on national radio. You have to be so careful, because we have been on air when like Robin Williams has passed away, because obviously we were on nighttime, so we'd get the American news. Right. We were on air when Robin Williams passed away. That was really hard. And Tony Soprano, James Gandolfini. Yeah. And there was somebody else as well, so we had to check. And we had that joyous job of announcing which favorite celebrity had passed away.
I love how the obituaries have turned up on 2FM.
I know. But anyway, so they're just so. Now I have to say, and I'm probably putting the bad eye on myself, I've been lucky enough. Nothing has happened on television. Oh God, I'm putting the bad eye on myself even saying this. Like,
yes, you are. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like, do you know what I said yesterday? Do you know what I said yesterday on the radio? Were you watching the Ireland-Portugal game last night?
No, I had my first stand-up gig in about 11
Did you?
months. I did.
Amazing. How did it go?
I was ridiculous. I did 45 minutes of material in the first 15 minutes. It was like, I'm just so excited.
So excited. Yeah, you got it all out there. Well, yesterday I said stupidly, wouldn't it be great if Ronaldo bet the world record, but also that Ireland won? And I got messages today on the show being like, well, are you happy now, Ciara? Are you happy now Ronaldo bet his record? And I was like, obviously I didn't want Ireland to lose, guys. Thank you very much. But I got a lot of shit for that. So I'm not going to say anything like that going forward. Maybe I should just keep my mouth shut about sports people in general.
Not at all. If anything, I think you should lean into it and be the new kind of angry pundit, you know, in a way, like saying stuff like, yeah, do you know what? I want to see Ronaldo absolutely smash that record. Because Ireland have no hope of winning anyway. We've been brutal at soccer for forever. And we still keep giving it a go.
Yeah. So have either of you guys come across TJ Miller in your comedy travels?
TJ Miller, yes. Yeah.
He's
in the Vodafone. He was very stoned.
Well, he was, I will say, in terms of like a radio gig or an interview, generally people have been so lovely. Over the course of 12 years, that's a good thing to say. He was the biggest dick ever when he came in to promote his comedy gig.
He just done the Emojis movie, so I wouldn't, you know.
And he also got Me Too like incredibly hard straight after.
He did get Me Too'd, yeah. He did get Me Too'd, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I actually wouldn't be surprised because that's what I'm saying. He came in, and I always find the caliber of a guest is if they ignore me, but they talk to Chris. And that just really irritates me because I'm like, I've been grafting here for 12 years, bitches. Who do you think is the brains behind this, you know what I mean, operation? And he refused. I asked him questions and he refused to answer me. I think he was a little bit drunk as well. And he just talked to Chris. He wouldn't talk to me. So in terms of an interview that stands out over the last 12 years, I'm not a fan of TJ Miller. Not a fan. There you go.
Right.
Well, you don't have to worry about sitting through much of his work from here on out, I will say.
I know. I think the last I heard, he called on a bomb scare on a train in America or something.
Oh, what a langer.
So the guy's obviously got issues, you know.
Oh, for sure he has issues.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's funny you say that he ignored you, but I mean, it's not funny. He's a dickish move. But when at the very beginning, because I knew Chris and I knew it was Chris and Ciara, but when Jerry had said to me that, I'm not going to go all the way here in outing this person, but twice I've been on another national radio station.
Are you going to you're going to tell me when we get off? Yeah,
100%. I'm going to tell you.
Oh, absolutely.
But for a brief, do you know, a millisecond, you're placing somebody, and for a millisecond, that's who I thought Jerry had mentioned. This person,
okay,
who has her name wouldn't be a million miles from yours, and
gotcha.
She actually reached across my face, like for the audio listeners, my forearm is brushing off my face, and she shook hands with the person sitting across from me. And we did an hour together, and I may as well have been lint in her pocket.
Yeah, that's not
She
cool.
did that twice. She did that 2 separate occasions. I'm like,
oh my God. I know.
Be that rude, like.
I know it astounds me. It astounds me because I know that sometimes people come into the radio show and they're nervous, and that's fair enough, like, or whatever.
Right.
But your job as the host is to make people feel welcome, and for them to walk away and go, do you know what, that was a really cool radio show, and I really like those presenters or that presenter. So, I mean, just saying, she didn't do her job.
Well, Ciara, I hope me and Tom as hosts have done our job this evening and made you feel welcome, because I got to be honest with you, we are fucking winging it hard on this podcast.
Guys, everyone's winging it. Myself and Chris are winging it on the radio, and we've been doing it for 12 years. So, like, you're grand. I wing it every day, actually. But anyway.
I get by hoping that people, they feel comfortable with it. They don't want anybody overly professional in myself and Jerry. They just want to. We could possibly do that. It was like the jokes that went around when George W. Bush became president. He inspired stupid people to think, maybe I could be president too. In the same sense, myself and Jerry have a podcast imaginatively named The Tom and Jerry Show. Like,
oh, that's brilliant. I actually love it. That's the only reason I'm here.
Well, Ciara, thanks a million for coming on. Thanks for your time. And we can catch up with Ciara on our airwaves every day. Around about what time, Ciara?
Well, on a Saturday and Sunday between 11 and 2. And currently we are covering for Jenny Green for the next 2 weeks. So if you want to get us during the daytime as well.
Fantastic stuff.
There you go.
Ciara, thanks a million.
And there you have it, Tom. 2FM's gain was iRadio's loss. Ciara King. As for our listeners, I'm sorry, like I don't want to. I love each and every listener that we have, but I'm fairly certain that one of you, if you've listened to the Tom and Jerry show for 6 seasons, is actually the type of person from the Midlands that would stalk someone back to their car over a DVD they got on a radio competition.
There's no ifs or buts about it, Jerry. I know exactly who it is.
Listening to that story, we had it narrowed down to 5 people.
For sure. And even just as I mull it over right now, I think I know. Thank you very much again to Ciara, of course. It ain't all life and rosy in the garden, even though she's an absolutely fantastic
icon. Author, Tom.
Of course, an author as well. There you go. That's making...
See, nobody has one job. Nobody has one job anymore these days, Tom. Not even you or me don't have one job. We're podcasters, and I have to go clear out a drain now.
Yeah, well, you know, as you said yourself, Jerry, you can't deny the hustle.
This is it. Speaking of hustle, it's time for us to do a little bit of hustle and hustle some people over to our social media channels. Whereas if you like the Tom and Jerry show, you're probably already there. But, you know, if you haven't followed us on Instagram or Twitter, hey, pick one. It's the same content on both channels. What can I do? But follow us on both of them. We like to see numbers go up. At Tom and Jerry show will probably get you on both of those channels. Or if you prefer just Tom or just Jerry, at Jerry McBride or at Tom_O'Mahony will get you there. Like I say every week, Tom, stick in Tom O'Mahony or Jerry McBride into the search and, you know, our faces will become apparent. We're the cultiest looking whoever's there, okay? If there's a guy in a business suit, probably not us. What else do we want him to do, Tom?
Go ahead, hit subscribe. If you're brand new to this because you're just a big fan of Ciara, hit subscribe. Have a look. There's a rake more bonus episodes of great quality shite gigs. Makes you feel warm and fuzzy inside to know that superstars can have a dirty old day at the office as well. Also, there's a reason why they're called bonus, because we also have regular episodes too, which come out on Monday. Deep dives of facts and things that interest the living bejesus out of us. Thank you everybody who's contributed so far. You've all thrown in your hat in the ring when it comes to this. I love this. It's a bit of interaction with people. Brilliant stuff. Great. If you have an opportunity and you have hit subscribe and you're listening on Apple Podcasts or whether it's Acast, or maybe you found a new podcast app that allows you to leave a review, please do. 5 stars, nothing less, nothing more. That'll be lovely. Leave us an owl review as well. If you want to write something cool or you're going, should I write this here? Nobody will see it. Grant, take a screenshot of you listening to it and tag either one of the tags that Jerry told you about and write something cool. That way we'll know you're listening. And also, it tells other people about it. If you're old school and you just want to roll up a piece of paper, stick it on the leg of an old pigeon and send it off to your cousin who lives in Roscommon, great! Make sure to tag the Tom and Jerry show on that too. Other than that, Jer, I think it's time we say good night, Norwich. Signing off. That was my best. That was it. That's all I got radio-wise. That's it.
Yeah, but like, you know, when does a radio station ever sign off, Tom? They normally like throw to, and coming up next, it's the news and the weather and a road watch.
Yeah, that's what you'd be even way better at than me. Way better.
You know, radio DJs don't just say, that's it, the final radio, bye-bye.
I wish they did. That'd be a sign-off, wouldn't it?
That'd be like an apocalyptic sign-off. We're handing over to the emergency broadcast. May God have mercy on our souls. And here's to Pow.
What a perfect sign-off to our podcast. Right.
That's it. Take care. Bye-bye.
Good luck.